Every life has a soundtrack. Join me as we invite guests to share their journey through music, one song at a time. 10 moments, 10 memories. I'm your host, Sean, and welcome to 10 Tracks.
Are you ready?
Welcome to 10 Tracks. My guest today is Jose Maldonado. By day, he's Los Angeles County Lifeguard, as well as radio host and lead singer of the tribute band Sweet and Tender Hooligans. Jose, welcome to 10 Tracks.
Thank you for having me, Sean.
Where in the world are you today?
I am in my home in Pasadena, California.
Nice. And you grew up in Southern California or in LA?
I did. I grew up in Burbank, California, my whole life. Moved here to Pasadena sometime in the early 2000s.
There's a lot we need to get into because besides your, what you do for your day job in the city, I guess is that part of the city of LA's? How does that?
The agency I work for is the County of Los Angeles.
Okay. And then you obviously, I was made aware of you through your, I guess, I don't know what's the right word to say, but devotion to a certain band from the 80s that started in, the Smiths and now Morrissey, but a lot of that. And I think you've become, Sweet and Tender Hooligans have become quite a big thing.
We're doing all right.
And then you also host a morning radio show on Sundays, and that is dedicated to the Smiths and Morrissey as well.
That's right. Breakfast with the Smiths, the world of Morrissey.
So I imagine just picking your 10 tracks could have been a little bit of a challenge in regards to maybe not the non-Smiths or Morrissey songs, but that probably was a bit of you had a lot to pick from.
Yeah. I mean, there's with Morrissey's solo catalog and his Smiths catalog, there's probably about there's well over 300 songs. I think 300 could be. I've lost count. So yeah, how do you choose? Even if I were to pick all 10, how would you even arrive at 10?
So tell me a little bit more about growing up in LA and Burbank, but just, because your family, are they originally from Mexico or?
Yes, both my parents are originally from Chihuahua, Mexico. And my dad came out here in the late 60s to work in the factories because all of the factory workers in the U.S. were off fighting the war in Vietnam. So the U.S. government had a program to get the students out of the trade schools in Mexico and give them permits to work here in the factories while the Vietnam conflict was going on. And I'm the oldest of 6 kids. My parents raised 6 of us in Burbank, California. It was a really, really nice time to grow up. There was a fantastic radio station that I was lucky enough to have called K-Rock, and that is where I discovered the Smiths. That's where I discovered all the bands that I grew to love, and I grew up mostly. Growing up in Southern California, the son of Mexican immigrants is it's a bit of an experience. Your around your Anglo friends, you're not quite Anglo enough, and around your Latino friends, you're not quite Latino enough. So you're an outsider in two different cultures.
And you tell me about the T-shirt that you have, which is, I guess, a nod to Irish blood, English heart, but it sounds.
Yeah, our the T-shirt that we made for Sweet and Tender Hooligans says Mexican blood, American heart.
Yeah.
So as a nod to Irish blood, English heart, it's that same kind of experience growing up. It's not unlike the experience for Irish immigrants growing up in Northern England.
Yeah, I imagine that there's a lot of similarities, especially with the Irish, and you can see that today they're still very, with certain cultures or certain races, they're very show camaraderie and whatnot. And so I guess I can see that there is definitely that link. I mean, just in general, though, for some reason, I know from my relationship with the Smiths and Morrissey, when he moved to LA, or somehow his LA connection, which was, I would say, a lot of Latino fans that were just like obsessed with him in a way, you know, more so than maybe what you would see when the Smiths came out in the UK or other parts of the US or other places in the world. But there was a huge fan base that I think it was documented quite a few times and stuff. But where
Quite a
were
few
you
times, yeah.
in that whole movement that came about in LA?
Well, I was right in the middle of it. You know, Morrissey had just become a solo artist, and um, when he finally when he finally came to the U.S. as a solo artist, he'd been a solo artist for I think a good 2 or 3 years before he had actually put a band together. So by that time, the last time any of us here in Southern California would have had the chance to see Morrissey was during the Queen is Dead tour. So that was 1986, and then Morrissey did not come here to the U.S. as a solo artist until 1991. So by
Yeah.
then you'd had all that time that people had just discovered the Smiths, like right when they broke up, and they were just getting into Morrissey as a solo artist. So they had enough time to wait impatiently for him to finally do his first show in Los Angeles as a solo artist at the Forum, which
That
is
was in 91.
91, yeah, for Kill Uncle.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember being at that show anticipating, because we didn't even know what his band would look like. We had no idea, but I do remember seeing his band for the very first time and going, wow, they're like a rockabilly band. This is so cool, and yeah, I remember just the anticipation of, yeah, what was the band going to sound like, and what were they going to look like. I remember, I think what hit me the most that first time, not just seeing the his new band lineup, but hearing Alan White singing backing vocals too, which was not something that he had with the Smiths.
No, exactly.
So
Did you
it was a lot of fun.
Did you see the Smiths on the Queen is Dead?
I did not.
Okay.
I think I was too young to go to concerts in those days. But it was the last time I could have seen them would have been at the Universal Amphitheater, and I think in those days I was probably maybe 15 years old, I think. So yeah, I don't think I was old enough to go to concerts just yet. Well, I mean, I would need a ride.
Yeah, it was in 1986. I saw them in New Orleans. It was on the university campus of Tulane, so they played at the Tulane Theater or whatever it is. So I guess it was more all ages, rather than being in a venue where you had to be adult. But I think some of my friends were older and drove, so I had rides to get there. But I think I was 15 at the time too, so we might be similar in age. I don't know.
You and I are of the same vintage.
Yes. Sorry for that disappointment to you, whereas you've aged better than I have.
Oh my goodness.
So let's dive into your 10 tracks, and we'll start with your first track, This
Mhm.
is, I'm not going to say which ones that maybe I wasn't so aware of, but let's just go. So the first one is Devo, Beautiful World.
Okay, so Devo were the very first band that I ever got into. I think I was 11 years old, and their one song that everybody knows them for, I don't, I don't need to mention it, um, because everyone knows them for that song. But it, that album, Freedom of Choice, basically ushered in my era of like, wow, I like this band a lot, and I like every song on this record, and Devo quickly became my first favorite band. They're still my favorite band of all time. But I chose the song Beautiful World from the album New Traditionalists, because maybe for those who only know Devo for that one song, uh, and maybe for those people, I would say, well, this is a good song to introduce people to the other the other great songs that Devo had. Um,
It's got a couple of hooks, and I vaguely remember the song. Maybe I had heard it. Maybe they did. It was a single. I'm not sure. Um, besides the song that everyone knows, there's "We're Through with Being Cool." I don't know if that's the name
yeah,
of the song, but
through being cool. Yeah, through being cool is from the same album as Beautiful World, New
okay.
Traditionalists. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were very popular, especially in that time in '81 on
Mhm.
MTV. I remember seeing their videos, etc. But I mean, this song, it almost like I was listening to. I'm like, I know the lyrics from somewhere else, but I think that this was kind of maybe somebody else had used some of the lyrics from here in a similar way. Maybe it was Coldplay or something. I don't know, but it's just that beautiful world, and we live in this and that. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of irony in this song, I think.
Yes. Yes. And the video and the video for Beautiful World, because the song is so positive about what a beautiful world we live in, and and all these nice people who care about each other, all that. um the video shows clips of shows clips of oh god,
It's
like
got, it gets a lot darker.
old black and white movies, and they'll show very positive things about um life in the 50s 60s
Like
space
Stepford
age.
style or something.
Yeah, right. But then towards the end of it, you start to see a little bit of darker images, um contrasting with what the lyrics of the song are, Beautiful World.
Yeah.
But I chose that song because in 1981, that was the idealized world that I believed in as still a child, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's why I love the song. I do love the song because it does, for me it elicits more of a positive message, even though it's intended to conflict, I suppose. But yeah, Beautiful World is the song I chose from Devo.
Yeah. Um, and is this also possibly your gateway into new wave, alternative, kind of indie?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Devo were one of those bands that they did obviously have their breakout success with Whip It. You mentioned MTV. Uh, what what people may or may not know is, there weren't many bands that had music videos already.
Right.
So Devo were one of those bands that were making music videos before MTV, and they were doing their own. And so a lot of these bands sort of capitalized on MTV because MTV had to play videos. So let's just get any bands that have videos on. And it just so happened that Devo had already made quite a few videos. So they as did other bands, they benefited from that.
I think that's where a lot of the British invasion also benefited because they were already making videos, and they had Top of the Pops, the Tube, and so by them just bringing these videos to the States because they needed videos, they had already sort of following. And when people saw these, I mean, I'd probably say for me it was probably Adam and the Ants, and stuff like Stand and Deliver and some of his Adam Ant stuff. So seeing those videos was probably, again, to that whole British invasion, etc.
Definitely.
We get to track 2, and this is the Smiths. Tell me about this song.
Rubber Ring is the song I chose, not because it's my favorite, not because it's okay. So we had the assignment was 10 songs. And of course I was going to pick a Smith song, and of course I was going to pick a Morrissey solo song. I chose
Spoiler for everybody who hasn't heard yet. No.
There you are. I chose Rubber Ring because of the lyrics about the songs that saved your life and the songs that made you smile and made you cry. It is also one of the songs that I most recently translated into Spanish. During 2020, we had we had this idea that while we were down and not able to do any shows, we decided to record some of our songs that I have translated into Spanish, and we specifically chose the not obvious ones. In other words, we weren't going to do Suede Head, we weren't going to do Big Mouth Strikes Again. We were going to do songs that maybe the mainstream hasn't heard. So when I was translating a lot of these songs, for me it was important. It was the most important thing for me to get Morrissey's lyrics translated as best as I could, word for word, emotion for emotion, sentence by sentence, into Spanish. And the amazing thing with Rubber Ring is I not only got 95% of it, like word for word, I also made it rhyme. Which was really surprising to me. I didn't even intend to do that. For me, the most rewarding thing about our Spanish language songs, which is called Querido Esteban. Anywhere you stream music, you can find it. What was the most important thing for me was, or what was the most prideful moment for me when those songs finally got completed, is when my parents heard those songs in their language, and they were like, "Oh, I get it now. I see why these songs meant so much to you. I see why a song like Last Night I Dreamt That Somebody Loved Me. I can see why." Yeah, I remember my dad. I remember like telling my dad this. This one is called Last Night I Dreamt That Somebody Loved Me. He said, "Well, you had me at the title." But Rubber Ring is the one one that we chose for Querido Esteban.
I used to have the 12-inch of this vinyl. It was the 12-inch of Boy with a Thorn in His Side, and so you had this and Asleep. Sadly, all of my records that were left from New Orleans were in Katrina, so they were destroyed, and a lot of imports and stuff like that. So it's very disappointing. But I still live through the songs regardless of the vinyl. But there's that bit in Rubber Ring which I thought, and I don't know if this is 100% accurate or not, but it comes from, there's like Oscar Wilde from The Importance of Being Earnest. There's a little clip in that, I think. I don't know if you've been able to.
Are you talking about the end of it? Everybody's clever nowadays, or
yeah, exactly.
Yes. So at the end of that, we chose. I chose to say something in Spanish that those of us who grew up those of us who grew up sons of Mexican parents would get.
Okay.
So you'd have to it's an inside joke that you would only get it if you if you grew up Mexican in Southern California.
Okay. But that's a great idea to do, to kind of link that into the song. Am I correct in also knowing that you did a Spanish version of There's a Light That Never Goes Out?
So we did. However, that translation is not mine. That belongs to Michele Erenstun.
Okay.
He also translated Every Day is Like Sunday.
Okay.
And so we now There Is a Light That Never Goes Out. That we had recorded maybe 10 years prior. Yeah, maybe about 10 years prior. Cleopatra Records reached out to us and said we would like for you to submit a recording of a Smiths song and do it as the way you guys do it, the way we do it. So we gave them two choices. We recorded Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now in English, and then we recorded There Is a Light That Never Goes Out in Spanish using Mikel's translation.
Yeah.
And we said to Cleopatra Records, we recorded two here, pick one.
Yeah.
And they chose both. so they added There Is a Light That Never Goes Out in Spanish as the bonus track on that album. So it was a compilation CD with Spanish language covers of Smith songs.
I think I've heard your version of that. Of one of the fan sites that might have been sharing that or something like that. So
yeah. Cool.
And so how many songs have you translated now totally?
I could almost do an entire set. Like if we'll be visiting Sweet and Tender Hooligans will be in Costa Rica in November. So we've toyed with the idea of like, what if we do the entire set in Spanish? You know. So I've translated I'm gonna say about 15 songs, 15 of Morrissey's songs with the Smiths and solo in Spanish at this time.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but Querido Esteban is just 6 of those. So yeah, just when you're hearing this sometime, for those of you listening to the podcast, just check it out on anywhere you stream your music.
Yeah. We'll provide a link in there too.
Cool.
Track 3. This album is actually again from 1985. This is New Order, Perfect Kiss.
The Perfect Kiss. So New Order is also one of those bands where a ton of songs I could have picked. Yeah. So I think I decided on the Perfect Kiss because it's a good 7-minute song that I never want to end. And I love the live recording of it. That's I think that's the song that I look forward to the most when I see New Order live. I look forward to seeing every single instrument being played. I think what I think what did it for me is again the video, directed by Jonathan Demme. It was basically them performing that song live in the studio, and I think what I love so much about that song and that video is you saw what instrument was playing what, and then what instrument was playing what, and who in the band was playing what. Because I remember up until that time I had not seen New Order live, and I thought, well, what kind of live show would they be like? And yeah, to this day they're up there in one of my top 5 favorite bands of all time. But Perfect Kiss is the song I chose. I think for its I guess I chose that because that's the song I look forward to hearing the most whenever I see New Order live.
Yeah. And they have so many great songs as well. I agree.
Yeah.
I saw them in New Orleans probably before I moved to England. That was in 1990. It was during the it was one of their last albums when they kind of took a
Let's see,
hiatus.
1990, it would have been Technique.
Technique, yeah, I think that
Yeah,
was it.
Technique. Yeah.
And they were playing there, and then I was went to one of the festivals in the UK. So this would have been Reading Festival, and they were the headliner of one of the nights. And that was probably around that album Regret, or the song Regret. I don't know if you remember that song.
The album was Republic. Yeah.
Republic. And
yeah.
They were the head, and it was just incredible because I never really went to festivals. And so this was one, and obviously with them headlining, it's probably, yes, if you've been to any of these, and I know there's a ton in LA, Coachella, whatever, it's kind of like that. So that was my first experience back in, that was probably 95, maybe 96. I don't remember when, around that time, but they were incredible live even. So, and this is also, again, part of that same sort of music that probably K-Rock was playing, right? So New Order,
Yes.
Depeche Mode, The Smiths, The Cure. So I think we had to listen to college radio to really get those albums and that songs, because they wouldn't play it on anything in New Orleans. I mean, you're lucky. It would. I mean, if it wasn't metal or country, you're not gonna get, or pop. You weren't gonna get it. Track 4. This is a band that's, from what I understand now, or at least they were living in California or in LA, but they originally, I think the singer's from Ohio, and then they were a New York band to start with. So I don't know where they are altogether, but the National. I think they were Smiths fans too, or maybe they were not anymore. I don't know what's the deal, but this is off their album Trouble Will Find Me, and this is a great song called I Need My Girl.
So in addition to hosting my my weekly radio show for the Smiths and Morrissey, I also do weekdays on the radio station with a regular rotation. The Independent FM is a Los Angeles based radio station. The tagline is, "We play the best indie music, past, present, and future." So I'm on the air Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon every day. And so in addition to doing my weekly, I'm on the air doing the regular broadcast as well. So of the songs that are more, the songs and the bands that are more current, the National were certainly one of those bands that, because of my association with the Independent FM, I didn't just I was already aware of them, but I became more aware of all of their other songs that they have. And they are they're I'd say since I joined the Independent FM, they're one of my favorite bands that I discovered through the radio station. And I chose I Need My Girl for a couple of reasons. It is romantic as hell. Number 2, Matt Berninger's his baritone fits me perfectly. So when I want to sing in the car, I can hit every note. And it's another, also the guitar part too is it's just a guitar and vocal mostly, but the guitar part I'm also learning to play. And so yeah, I guess I chose I Need My Girl for all of those reasons.
And there's a line in the song which is probably one of my favorites, and every time I hear it, it's just like there's some comedy in this, but it's he was talking about something, he goes, and it's full of punks and cannonballers. And I don't know if I've ever heard another band or singer sing the word cannonballers in a song. I mean, maybe you have, but that was pretty clever.
Yeah, it sounds like the lyric says, "I tried to call you from the party. It's full of punks and cannonballers." It sounds like he's just so sad missing his girl, and
he's at a frat party or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and maybe he's on the road. Maybe he's on the road, and he's trying to call you from the party, but there was just so much going on, and even though everyone's just having a good time, I need my girl.
It's very romantic.
Yeah, it is.
Possibly the next track is the king of romance, or one, but he's the king. So,
Yeah, sure.
and again, this is probably another hard one for you because there's so much to pick from. But this is an incredible. This gives me this, like when he was the showman, when Vegas kind of for that time, and Elvis Presley, "The Wonder of You."
Why did I pick out of all of the Elvis Presley songs that I could have picked? Why did I pick "The Wonder of You"? I guess I have to say it's because that's my go-to karaoke song. So it's and you know it's also another romantic song too, about how that one person that's the most important person in your life inspires you and is always there to cheer you on and to make you feel like a king. Yeah, I chose "The Wonder of You" for all of those reasons, not just that it's my go-to karaoke song.
So, how do you keep your professional life and your musical life? Like, do they cross over at all? Do people now, with the Los Angeles County, do they kind of know you as the Mexican Morrissey, or is it still kind of two separate things?
Well, it's so the so music was a hobby. Um, I guess it still is a hobby, but now it's a hobby that sort of pays pays well. But you know, lifeguarding is obviously my career. Lifeguarding is what pays the bills.
Yeah.
So no, I always kept those two worlds separate. That doesn't mean that you know, the random person won't see me on the job say, "Hey, aren't you?" And I'll be like, "Yes, yes, I am." So that will happen. And then, of course, some of I'll see some of my coworkers show up to a concert because some of them maybe knew. But no, they're two very separate lives, but both are very rewarding. Both are very important to me. I will likely be retiring from the LA County Lifeguards uh, this year. Yeah. So
Okay. Wow, that's and you've been with them quite a long time.
36 years. I will be collecting my pension, I believe, beginning in March. So this might be news to we might be breaking news to someone
Excellent.
listening to this podcast. So yeah,
Breaking news, everybody. Well, good luck with that. Congratulations.
thank you.
And it sounds like it was a great service for them to have you and in your,
Oh,
what you
thank you.
did. You've also, from what I understand, and this could be wrong, but I think you've met M like maybe 6 times or more.
Yeah, a few times, a few times. Living in Los Angeles, you do have the tendency to run into him. Yes. So living in Los Angeles, you will have opportunities to see more run into Morrissey without without even thinking about it. A lot of people have met him at Amoeba Records, the record store that's out in Hollywood.
Is that
He's
still going or has it closed?
Yeah, it's still there. It's in a new location,
Okay.
but from when you were living there. And no, that's a lot of people when they said, "Oh, oh my God, I saw Morrissey." I was like, "Were you at Amoeba Records?" Yeah, that's where I was. Um,
And he used
it,
to be at like the Cat and the Fiddle. That was a pub that he used to
correct.
have frequent.
Right, and the Cat and the Fiddle was next to the old location. And there's a song. One of his songs is called "I'm Playing Easy to Get," and he says, "So if you see me between Cole and Cahuenga, I'm just playing easy to get." So it's a kind of an invitation to, well, if you see me there, that means I want to
You
meet you.
found it. Yeah,
So yeah, I had let's see. So the most recent time I was waiting in line to see the band Sparks. And
Sparks.
by this time, I've already met Morrissey a few times, and I've already said every nice thing I've ever wanted to say, and I can only screw things up now. So, I saw him come out of his car to get the tickets. I was getting my ticket at will call, and then he noticed me first and walked up to me and said, "Hey, how's the band?"
Wow.
So it's a brief exchange, a smile, and and then he went off to go see Sparks, and then I went um,
To
went
your
to
spot.
my seat. Yeah.
So has it gotten more maybe normalized yet, or does it still seem?
No, it'll never be normal. It'll never ever be normal. If I run into him again at the Trader Joe's, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be acting just as. But the nice thing though was this last time I didn't have to approach him. He approached me, so that was really nice. That sort of gave the permission to, oh, okay, well, that's good. Um, I'm just happy that he's aware of us, and hopefully enjoys what we're doing.
And from what I understand, he has seen a clip or watched a video of the a whole song or a concert.
Yeah. So he's I hesitate to tell this story only because I've told it like a million times already. But no, he is aware of Sweet and Tender Hooligans. He has mentioned us in his live show before. So again, I've told that story a million times.
Yeah. And how was the other band? That are they Smith fanatics or are they just like into Sweet and Tender
The
Hooligans?
oh, I see, the members of my band.
The members of your band.
I see. No, we're all fans of the Smiths and Morrissey.
Okay.
All of us were either fans before or became fans when they joined the band. You know,
It's a
but
prerequisite now.
yeah. Well, no, I mean that just you can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. I mean, my lead guitarist David Collette, he and I have been fans of Morrissey like long before we were doing the band. So,
Mm-hmm.
but um, but my bass player Joe Escalante was a fan of the Smiths and quickly became a fan of the entire catalog and quickly became a fan of the solo work by discovering more and more songs being in our band. So,
Are there any songs that you think you know that you do and will stay in the sort of set list?
well, yeah, I mean, when you're a tribute band, there's city ordinances and state laws that you have to. I mean, obviously, if you're a Led Zeppelin tribute, it means you have to do Stairway to Heaven. You know,
Yeah.
if you are, but if you are a Morrissey Smith tribute, you kind of have to do you kind of have to do Every Day Is Like Sunday. You kind of have to do There Is a Light That Never Goes Out. You know, you'd be disappointing a lot of people you didn't. You know, and no, I'm not tired of those ones yet. I think There Is a Light That Never Goes Out. I think every time those first few notes come on, and I see just how much joy like is exuded from the audience, I think, yeah, I get it. I still feel that way, you know. Um,
Are there
um,
any kind of rare songs or maybe less popular or noticeable songs that maybe you've kind of snuck in for fans that are, fans that would probably know it if you threw it in there?
yeah, all the time. So what I'll let you in on a little inside. I'll let you in a little in on some inside baseball. This is how we do it. We know we can get about 22 to 25 songs into a set, depending on where we're playing. So that means 10 of those 22 will be the crowd pleasers. There will be the 10 that we will say we call the standards. So that leaves us with anywhere from 12 to 13 songs that we will play differently, so that we don't have the same set each time. And then, of course, one person will say, hey, I would really like to do the song Lifeguard on Duty. One person will say that, and then we'll learn that song, and then we'll add that to the repertoire for a while.
Yeah.
When Morrissey was in his rockabilly period, he had these really cool rockabilly songs. So um, we our bass player really wanted to play the upright bass and be able to do those songs. So those will get added into the set, and we'll have that in for a while, and then we'll retire that for a bit and then resurrect it. So we try to do as best as we can to hit every era, and be mindful of like what people might be excited to hear, and but that doesn't stop us from indulging ourselves with with songs that maybe only I'm looking at you, David Collette, my guitarist. uh, he would yeah, I mean that'll happen, that will happen. I mean, you'll get that one person who really wants that one person in the band who would really like to do that song because it might have some personal meaning. And then sometimes, that song that we sort of chose, um, that song that we chose just out of like a personal preference becomes a crowd favorite. So that's
Yeah.
always fun when that happens. So
We get to track 6. This is, as far as I know, an LA band. Oingo Boingo.
yes.
Just Another Day.
So Oingo Boingo was a Southern California band, headed up by Danny Elfman, who people know as the movie music composer of movies like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice, basically all of the Tim Burton movies, the first Batman movie that Tim Burton directed, and Batman Returns. And he's also the voice of Jack Skellington in The Nightmare Before Christmas. So Danny Elfman, the singer of Oingo Boingo, wrote the theme song to The Simpsons. Basically, Oingo Boingo was a local band that got very, very popular due to K-Rock. And every Halloween, Oingo Boingo would do 3 shows, and that became a Southern California institution. So I would say there's probably a period of about 15 years, I think, about 15 years where every Halloween I would go see Oingo Boingo.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just, it's just what you did on Halloween, and the song Just Another Day reminds me of that time in life when in high school I was finally starting to go to concerts. In those days, when you wanted to get tickets to see tickets to see your favorite band, sit down, kids. Let me tell you how we did it in the old days. You had to you had to wait. You had to wait in line outside of a record store like Tower Records, or in my case, it was Music Plus. And if you wanted to be the first person in line, it meant that you got there at like midnight the night before, set out a lawn chair, and maybe had a blanket or a sleeping bag, and you waited until 10 o'clock in the morning when they opened the doors and the tickets went on sale.
Yeah.
And there were many times you might have been the 15th person in line, the 20th person in line, and by the time you got there, the tickets were sold out after the fourth person got their tickets. So it was quite a challenge. Now, Oingo Boingo was one of the first bands that I said I really want to see them live, and I really want to make sure that I get tickets, and I really want to make sure that I don't have to go to a scalper. I want to be able to be the first person in line, and I was outside waiting for tickets, and as the night wore on. As the night wore on, I had friends of mine saying, "Hey, can you get me a I know you're waiting in line. Can you get me a ticket for me and my sister?" And I said, "Sure." So I took their cash, and then they left. Didn't want to wait in line with me or anything like that. Anyway, that morning I ended up buying 19 tickets.
Wow.
That morning I ended up buying 19 tickets. So I could have been unalived. I could have been anything could have happened to me because there I was by
With a
myself,
wad of cash in
a
your
wad of
pocket.
cash, and waiting in line to get tickets for 19 of my friends. But when that concert happened months later, we were all like, we had two rows, and all 19 of us, most of us were on the swim team together. The 19 of like the 20 of us were sitting like one row here and one row here, like behind us, and it was at the Greek Theater, which is the second most beautiful venue in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful night, and just another day makes me think of that time in my concert going life.
That's a good story. It does, it probably is more interesting to see an LA band in LA with that connection. I think I've saw the National at the Greek Theater, if I'm
Yeah,
not. And
yeah,
when they did the song about LA, and I think they have a couple of songs where they reference LA in it, and it
yeah,
just it's a little bit more magic. You see the people kind of really resonate with it, and it's something special. So
yeah, definitely. And Oingo Boingo were they were an 8-piece band with a horn section, and very dynamic. And me being a band nerd, it was really cool to not just see a rock band, but a rock band with a horn section, and musicians that probably knew how to read sheet music and everything.
we get to track 7. This is, and actually, I just realized it was this year that he just passed away, Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys, and God Only Knows.
Had to take a moment there because I just realized that, yeah, we did lose Brian Wilson. There there are a few songs that a few songs out there that I call a perfect song, and you just know it when you hear it. And I'm not alone in this. Many people have quoted this one as being one of those perfect songs. Nope, like there isn't a single note that is like there's not a single note that goes to waste. There's not a single um choice that was made in that record that wasn't so perfect for that song. Lyrically, vocally, of course, the Beach Boys known for their harmonies. I think that the harmonies of that song um was it just one of their greatest moments, if not their greatest moment, at the way the song ends and just takes you away to this feeling. Yeah, God Only Knows from the Beach Boys is about as perfect a song as you can get, you know. And every time you hear it from those first few musical notes that you hear, you know that something great is going to happen to you in about for the next 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard not to speak of that song without tearing up, without getting reverence, without standing
I,
back and just witnessing what was a musical masterpiece at the time for all
it's
time.
I would 100% agree with you. It's something that I think it was in the 90s when I was in the UK, and a friend there said, you need to hear Pet Sounds. And so I bought the CD, and heard the Beach Boys growing up, but not really paid them too much attention. There's a few that I liked, but it was just that band of that time. But it was just, I was into more punk than, indie or whatever. So it wasn't like, that's my music. Listening to it, and then again, there was a few songs on there that struck that I loved, but this song in particular just stood out by far. I did hear somewhere, I don't know where, someone told me this, is that it's the first song that was played on the radio, on like national radios or whatever, that had the word God in it. That
Yeah,
wasn't a church song or hymn or something like that.
right, right.
um, shows you like how, and thankfully the Beach Boys were able to do that. But just so bizarre that is a fact. I don't know, good or bad, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could talk another half hour about what a great song and what a great moment in music history that is. And Brian felt like he was in competition with the Beatles to write the next Sergeant Pepper's,
Yeah.
and he would not learn until years later that Paul McCartney said that was his favorite song,
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to Brian, that Paul McCartney was hearing that going, that is my favorite song.
I'm pretty sure that there was a BBC made a version of this, like they did with Lou Reed's Perfect
Yeah.
Day. I
Yeah.
think God
Yeah.
only knows, and there was obviously artists
Yeah.
and musicians who did it,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it was again another great tribute to
Yeah.
such a great
Yeah, I
song.
get chills. I just get chills just talking about the song. It does give you chills, doesn't it? I mean, just great song.
This vibration going on right now, listeners. You may
Yeah.
not notice it, but hopefully you feel it.
Yeah.
We get to track 8, and this is another band. I guess K-Rock really gave them into really I don't know if that's their introduction, but they were definitely MTV and K-Rock. Depeche
K-Rock.
Mode. You picked Enjoy the Silence.
For the same reason that I picked God Only Knows. It's a perfect song. Every every melody, the guitar part, the vocal, it's before I get into the song, I'll tell you, during those days of K-Rock, I think if you were going to make an equivalent to what was happening at that moment, Top 40 Radio was playing the stuff that you're hearing, on Top 40, the Hall & Oates and stuff like that, which isn't bad. But K-Rock was playing what was not yet called alternative. We weren't calling it that yet. But I would say that in those days, Morrissey was Elvis, Depeche Mode were the Beatles, and The Cure were the Rolling Stones. I would say that was the equivalent of what was happening in Southern California at the time. So these were the big celebrities of the K-Rock audience.
So Depeche Mode was playing big arenas, right? They played in LA. Yeah. I mean, they have an album from LA, but I think it was at one of the arenas.
It was the Rose Bowl.
It was the
Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty big.
It was enormous. And this was a band that if you had asked, if in those days in 1987, 1988, even though Depeche Mode were on their way up and pretty big, in pretty much anywhere in the US, if you just went into like a random like supermarket and asked 10 people if they had ever heard of Depeche Mode, you probably only get 1 out of 10 people that would have heard of them. But here they were selling out the Rose Bowl, and that was enormous at the time. And that had everything to do with how they were promoted on K-Rock and how word of mouth and how it became the cool thing that you wanted to make sure you were at. The next day, the next day at school, when you would see everyone wearing the T-shirt from that concert, you knew, oh, they experienced that same thing,
Yeah.
But I chose Enjoy the Silence because when I think about the whole catalog of Depeche Mode, another one of my top 5 favorite bands. When I think of that whole catalog, I think of that is a moment in time where they wrote the perfect song for the perfect time. It's again, just like God Only Knows, from the first moment to the very end, it's wall to wall a perfectly written song and a perfectly written moment. Someday when I have more than 10 tracks, maybe I'll do 10 perfect songs. but Enjoy the Silence is definitely up there in one of them.
Now, and I think the video was directed by the Dutch photographer. He's also done a couple of films, but started doing more. I think he did a lot of U2. He did Johnny Cash. He's on. He did Morrissey.
And to Anton Corbijn,
Yeah,
Anton Corbijn, who I directed almost all of Depeche Mode's videos.
Oh, he did.
From
Okay.
even from Black Celebration on, he was directing all of their videos, and he used a Super 8 film on
Right.
on some of those. But yeah, that's a gorgeous video too. Just seeing Dave Gahan all by himself, off in this,
Or the
in
cape or
these
something.
remote locations, yeah, with a king's cape and a crown. Yeah, that what a great song, what a great video. Yeah.
Absolutely. We move on to track 9. This is the Gorillaz.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about this band was on another playlist recently, so it's interesting because obviously I'm a fan, but I didn't realize how big they were as a but this is on Melancholy Hill, which is one of my favorites too.
Yeah. Yeah. So Blur obviously came on the scene before, and that was a big deal for us here in the U.S. because Blur, Oasis, Pulp, and a lot of other bands that for whatever reason were just one syllable words: Blur, Pulp, Curve, Lush. Yeah, there were a lot of them.
Yeah.
Ride, like, okay.
We can keep
What's it?
going.
They're all, yeah. Oasis was the one that had like 3 syllables, but there were like all these bands that were like one syllable. But Blur was what we were listening to if we were not listening to what grunge was happening.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against grunge, but it just wasn't my thing. So I tended to gravitate more towards the Britpop scene that was happening concurrently.
Yeah.
When Damon set off to do this project Gorillaz, I was really fascinated by the idea of like, so it's like, wait a minute, so it's like a virtual band, like the Archies? Yeah. Thinking that. I remember thinking that. But on Melancholy Hill, I would say that that came to my attention just like the National did when I joined the independent FM. I think that's, I want to say on the first, let's say like the first day or the first week that I was at that station. I remember like hearing that song like for the third or the fourth time. I'm like, that's really, really good. So it just reminds me of a time when I got onto the station. And could it have been a Blur song? I wonder. Like if Gorillaz had not happened, like if Blur had just stayed the band and that had been the only thing that Damon would have done, that's not I don't think that's possible because Damon doesn't seem to like have any kind of like day off or vacation in his mind. He seems to always needs to be writing music and all that. But I do wonder if that could have been a Blur song. But it's look, it rhymes, it's sweet, it and the line, because you are my medicine when you're close to me,
It's written on my paper right here in front. That's the same line that I picked. Oh wow.
It's a sweet song. I love that one.
I think you're right.
I'm gonna hear that when we close out. That's the first song I'm gonna play.
I think you're right that maybe this wouldn't be on the Blur album. A lot of the songs from Gorillaz. I think this was an extension of the music where he was going. Obviously, I was in the UK during a lot of the 90s Britpop, Suede, Oasis, and One Syllable Suede, by the way.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's another one. That's another one, right?
And I was probably, it depended on which album by the whole competition between Blur and Oasis, but I do like them both. strangely.
Took sides. I never took sides. I know it was cool to
No,
take sides about the Cure and the Smiths, or or Blur and Oasis. I never took sides.
no.
I don't think they were serious about it either. I think honestly that was just self-generated to be like, oh yeah, we hate those guys. They suck. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, well we hate you too. And so yeah.
But I mean, Damon's done. He has another side project what he did with the bass player from the Clash. I think it was the Good,
Yeah.
the Bad, the Queen, or something like that. It was called,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
and
Yep.
that was actually pretty good. And that kind of seemed like the blur, like the blend between Blur and Gorillaz. That was
Yeah.
kind of, but with that punk edge. But they are an interesting. I never really I associated everything with Damon. I didn't put the whole animation, which is a
Right.
huge thing. And
Yeah.
like my nieces, my nephews are hugely into them, and because of the whole animation, they know all the names, Murdoch and all of these, which I don't know everybody's name in the Gorillaz, but I never really like consumed that part of it. I just the music and what Damon was doing, I really liked, and even with some of his the other songs off the album. This album actually has a couple of like three or four that I really like, but there's this the most absurd kind of collaborations he was able to do with different artists. I mean, he's the recent one I think is Stevie Nicks.
Oil. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's last album
Yeah.
or something.
Yes,
But
Cracker Island. Cracker Island, which was recorded here in Los Angeles. And I think what I love about Cracker Island is well, I love the album, but I also love that while he was doing the promo for that, he was wearing a Dodgers hat. So I thought, Damon lives here now. Yeah. He's another guy you might run into just walking around Los Angeles. That's another one of those people that, oh, I wasn't planning on, but look, there he is.
Yeah, I think in London I bumped into a lot of back in the 90s. I saw Damon in some late night bar or something, and I didn't approach him or anything, but that was him there, and I think that was right before Park Life was going to blow up.
Yeah.
And then I actually late at night I was trying to get a cab or get home on Regent Street in central London, and Noel walked past me.
Oh,
And
wow.
just kind of, he looked at me, I looked at him, and I obviously recognized him. He didn't know who I was, but clearly, but it was kind of like we gave each other that. And then like he's got this little rocker jacket and he's freezing his ass off, and and I'm cold, but trying to get. It was winter time,
Yeah.
and then bumped into them with a bunch of I think other people at an Echo Belly concert
Great.
up in Camden there, and then so that actually had quite a few like artists or other musicians, and I think Oasis were there hanging out at the World's End or some pub up there and stuff. Um, Tell me again now. You have played all over, right? Outside of North
Yeah.
America, you've played in the UK. Anywhere else?
So we played El Paso, Texas, Houston, Texas. In Mexico, we have played Tijuana and Monterrey. We've played in Seattle, we've played in Portland. Primarily though, we pretty much stick to Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego.
Okay.
Whatever time we have played London and Manchester a few times as well. Actually, we've played quite a few cities in England. York, Leeds, Birmingham. Anyway, we since the five of us have day jobs and families and responsibilities, we gig whenever we can. Whenever we can get the time off of work and get out to do a show. Costa Rica will be the first time that we will have ever played there, so it will be rather exciting. Late November.
Yeah. Is there any place that maybe you get more fans that are contacting you you'd like to play or you'd like to go to?
We just played in Minneapolis, and ever since we played there, it seems like everyone that wanted to see us found out about it later. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess we'll have to come back now. Yeah, I have yet to play. We have yet to play in Chicago. I would love to play Chicago. I would love to play anywhere a Major League Baseball team is, so that I could take in a game the day before.
Mhm.
Um, so um, I would. I would love to go. I would love to go back to New York City again. It's always fun to play. Fun to play there. It's fun to visit New York City. And any chance that we can get to play in London and Manchester, that's really the, yeah, outside. Oh, how could I forget Scotland? Oh my God,
Ooh.
Scotland's the greatest. Scotland is just wonderful. Like, yeah, Glasgow. Oh boy, every time we played, that's been the highlight of the tour.
Yeah.
And not intent. I mean, we obviously it's a big deal for us to play Manchester because that's the city where it all began, right? But that other surprise, that it shouldn't be a surprise to us anymore, is Glasgow. They're just fantastic. We love playing there.
Now we get to your last track. Now there's something I wanted to ask you about to just get your take on this, because you've been name dropped in a lot of circles of fans, even famous fans. They know you as like, you're almost like the Mozopedia, where they say if you want to know anything, you go to Jose and he knows everything. And so there's this, I don't know if you've seen this on YouTube, but it's Chris Gethard and Thomas Lennon.
Mhm.
And they've been, I don't know if they were in New York or LA in a record store, and then they start name dropping you, and how Chris was saying, yeah, I lost, I don't know what he said, or something was like he didn't know the answer, or didn't know something that you maybe quizzed him, and he was like, yeah, my credit just dropped. He was like,
Oh God.
which is, I don't know if they were
I know
being
the
more comedy, but
I know the one you're talking about, and no, I did not. I didn't feel that way at all about Chris. I think I either Chris has a different memory, or Chris was just trying to be funny around Tom. Because Tom and I are friends. Tom is actually a member of Sweet and Tender Hooligans.
is he?
Uh, he is. He plays with us whenever he's in town, or whenever he is available, because he does travel quite a bit. He's
Mm-hmm.
on stage with us. So
What does he play?
he's a guitarist.
Okay. Does he ever
Yeah.
try to sing harmonies with you, or he leaves that to you?
I keep asking him to, and he says he won't. He says he wants to. He says one instrument is hard enough for him to do that, because you know what, he told me this. He said, I don't. He says, I don't sing. I don't sing well. I sing like a comedian. So
how, how did you pick, or how did the Smiths pick you? Because I mean, obviously with K Rock, you had so many great bands at that time that were playing or around, that you were introduced to, and great sounds, but you kind of lassoed yourself to the Smiths.
so what was happening at the time? The uh, the band actually got together as an original band. We
Mm-hmm.
had actually joined. Um, we had formed the band as an idea of, like, writing our own songs and putting our own material out there. Um, and that was the original intention. We were even called Sweet and Tender Hooligans before we were a tribute band, because I thought, oh, we should call ourselves something so that, like, it tells everybody what school we came from. I was 19, I was 20 years old, and also, um, um, Siobhan Fahey and her husband at the time, or still, Dave Stewart. Dave
Mm-hmm.
Stewart of the Eurythmics and Siobhan Fahey had a project called Shakespeare's Sister
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So we're like, I know, we'll call ourselves the Sweet and Tender Hooligans, yeah. And then everyone, this is a chorus. This is a chorus before we're a tribute band or anything like that. Anyway, the first ever Morrissey Smiths fan convention was the first one here in the U.S. was being held in October of 1992, and I remember
In
saying to the
Los
band,
Angeles.
in Los Angeles. There were other fan conventions prior, but this was the first one ever in the U.S. I said to the band, you know what we got to do? We got to put together like a set of all Smith songs, and I could dress like him, and I could do my hair like him, and we could, yeah, wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, let's do that. And that was our first show. So October
Wow.
of 1992 was the birth of Sweet and Tender Hooligans and the birth of my career as the Mexican Morrissey. So that is how I was chosen to do um, what I do.
Now, in your personal life, you're married, you have children.
Married with 2 kids, yes.
Now, how do they fare with like what is their impression of you when you are on stage or that side of you compared to home life?
My boys are now 18 and 20. But when they were small, I do remember that time when they were first starting to become aware that their dad is um, that their dad is also a rock star. And um, there there were a couple of times when I would be, we'd be out at a park, and then someone would come up to me and recognize me from the band, and they would be saying nice things, and they'd want to say hello. And as soon as we were done, and and they'd want to take a selfie and that kind of thing, and then they walked away. My boys were probably 5 years old and 3 years old at the time, and they said, "Daddy, who was that?"
Why
They
they
had no idea that. Yeah. So um and then I remember one specific time when my son Max was I was watching a Morrissey video on a DVD, and my son Max walked by the TV screen, looked at the man on the screen, and looked up at his dad, looked at the man on the screen, at his dad, and said, "Daddy, is that you?" And I hugged him and I said, "Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you." But no, that's not me. But oh, they come to shows, and they
Are they into
they
the
have a
music?
they have a good time. They're into the music. They know the songs. And yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun to have them there.
So we get to your 10th track, and
Yep.
this is the man.
Yeah.
Tell us about this song, and you picked
So
it.
I chose Speedway because it was one of those songs where I mentioned earlier, where one of us picks, "Hey, I'd like to do this song," and we're like, "Okay, let's learn that one and we'll do it." I believe it has remained on our set list ever since the very first time that we'd ever like attempted it and done it. The album Vauxhall and I might be the most significant solo album of my fandom, I suppose. Because right around that time, friends of mine that were into Morrissey when he first became a solo artist, they had started to slowly drop off, and I like his old stuff better. That happens to just about everybody. Never happened to
Mhm.
me, but no, I mean, for me, honestly, more often than not, if I was a fan of you, when I was 11, I'm still your fan, and I'm still buying your brand new album no matter what. That's I'm a very brand loyal customer when it comes to that. So, but I do remember that. I remember thinking, I love this album so much, and I'm loving every single song. Am I loving it because I'm bought in and because I'm gonna love anything no matter what? Or do I love it because I genuinely love it?
Mhm.
And the song Speedway is the last song on that album. And the closing lines are, "In my own strange way, I've always been true to you. In my own sick way, I'll always stay true to you."
It's.
And
I mean,
I
this is
remember
written
thinking,
down as
that's it.
well.
Yeah,
Sorry, this is
yeah,
written down again. The same thing as we were talking about Melancholy Hill, and those are the
yeah,
lyrics I put on there too.
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Jose.
that pretty much sums it up for what my feelings are when it comes to Morrissey, and when it comes to my relationship to him musically. I'll always stay true to you. You you seem to always get me. You know, even if he were to do a show where he only played songs from his most recent 3 albums, I would know every single song off of those 3 albums. I'm
Yeah.
still as into it. I'm still as bought in. I'm still so dedicated to everything he's been doing. And I think Speedway just sort of sums that up. It's I'll always stay true to you, you know. And that's actually how I sign off my radio show every week.
So, I mean, not to get political about Morrissey, but around the record industry and whatnot, and how his last couple of albums or 2 of his albums were dropped or hidden, so he
Yeah.
can't. They're not been, or one was already released and then it was unreleased from Capitol. What's he could write or take his songs and self-release them if he wanted to.
Yeah.
What's the politics around that?
You'd have to ask him, honestly. And I think he might, I don't want to speak for him, but he just feels like he shouldn't have to release his own material. He should just be able to, people should, they should recognize that he is that he's the artist that he is, that he comes with the reputation that he has, and that he will that he will sell out shows when when he performs.
Do
So
you
I
think
don't
that
know.
you can do it like rogue or different? You could like have a marketing firm behind you that could still put and maybe you release it so that you have full control and not have to worry about what a traditional type of
Yeah.
record industry or record company. There's alternatives to
I
do
mean,
this.
and you could make a case. You could make a case for that. You could make a case and say that, I mean, there are plenty of other artists that do that.
Mhm.
But perhaps he's just set in his ways. This is what he knows. This is what I mean, my mom will never send a text message. She's just set in her ways,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't know. It's a question you'd have to ask Morrissey. You'd have to ask him why, if he's not getting what it is that he wants when it comes to releasing his new material. Why not just go out there and do that? But maybe that's it. Maybe he thinks, well, someone will come along, you
Mhm.
know. And right now, we're content with just seeing him. We're just content with seeing him live, and we have to just be content with hearing those brand new songs when we see them for the first time on stage. And I'm looking forward to when we do get to hear those new albums.
So if you had to pick, say, from Morrissey solo stuff, what would be your top 3, or first, second, and third in order?
Oh my goodness. No, see that would take a lot of thought. Speedway's up there. Speedway is up there.
Albums.
Yeah. Oh, albums. Oh goodness. Well, Vauxhall and I.
Yeah.
I would say You Are the Quarry,
Mm-hmm.
and oh my goodness, Your Arsenal. Yeah, yeah, Your Arsenal.
Interesting.
Yeah, those
Okay.
3. Yeah, I would say those 3.
Now,
Yeah,
obviously, the Smiths catalog
those
is
are
a
great,
lot,
great.
lot more limited, but you can include Hatful of Hollow in any of the original
Oh,
of.
and my guitarist and I have had this debate a few times, because back when album theme shows were a thing, we used to do those album theme shows, and we had a discussion about Louder Than Bombs, and I said, that's not an album, that's a compilation, that's not fair. And we must have spent like a half hour like going back and forth. And I go, it's not an album. I'm sorry, it's not an album. You know, like you like the Beatles 1965, that compilation. See, that's not an album.
Right.
You know, anyway, the loud, anyway, we went over this a bunch of times, but it seems like the problem with doing these album theme shows, the problem with doing those is, now I don't mind them, but what ends up happening is, if you are a tribute band, what's going to happen is people are going to start, you know, when you're playing one of the deep album cuts, they're going to want to hear Suede Head. They're going to want to hear First of the Gang to Die. They're going to, you know, they're going to want to hear these other songs. So oftentimes they might be one of those things where it can't mean more to you than it does to the audience. And that's
Right.
always what's important. That's always what's important to me. So, about the only album theme show that we can do is The Queen is Dead, because that from top to bottom has like song after song after song. And, you know, and it still leaves you enough room at the end of that album themed portion to still have another 10 songs to go for the rest of the night, you know. So whenever we do those album theme shows, like whenever we do the Queen is Dead album, I don't mind that one too much.
Yeah. Have you done Meat is Murder, or?
So we have done every single album. We've done every at one point or another in the existence of the band. In fact, when we did Meat is Murder, that is when Tom Lennon was at the show, and that's when we befriended Tom. So this was early 2000s, I think. Yeah. Oh goodness. Yeah. That was quite a show.
Jose, it's a real honor to have you on the podcast, and I really appreciate getting a chance to meet you and talk to you, because it's having a fellow fan of music, not just the Smiths or Morrissey, but also a lot of other bands and music that I like, and another compadre in this. It's really nice to hear and to share your memories and what these songs mean to you. So thank you for being on the show. I'd say to everyone, always to be kind, be humble, be love. Thank you.
For sure. If anybody out there, before I give out the plugs for the radio show and everything, I was beholden to just 10 songs, so apologies to David Bowie, apologies to Van Halen, apologies to the Pet Shop Boys and Erasure, and all of these other bands that I love so very much. Apologies to Julio Iglesias. There are plenty of other bands that I could have named, but limited to just these 10. These were the ones that were currently making me smile at the time. I invite everyone listening to check out the Independent FM. You just go to the independentfm.com, anywhere you have an internet connection. Log on. I'm usually on Tuesday through Friday from 9 a.m. to noon Pacific. And I host Breakfast with the Smiths, The World of Morrissey. I hope you guys will tune in and check that out as well.
Yeah, please do. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Sean.
Pretty vacant times.
Are you ready?
It suffers for his sports jacket.